Thanks for tuning in to our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon FBA business for sale in the home improvement niche. Created in December 2015, this business makes $6,380 per month in net profit, and the listing number for this business is 40781. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. Now, we got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, Jacob.
Hey, Greg. Thanks a lot for having me.
Before we dive into the questions here, just to give a quick summary for everyone out there listening in, this business was built in December 2015, as I mentioned above, has a monthly revenue of $12,868 with expenses sitting at $6,488 for that total net profit of $6,380. Now that is over a 12-month average, and included in the sale is the transfer of the FBA account. The inventory will be negotiated during the sale, and 3 new SKUs will also be included with the sale, which we might talk a little bit about later in the interview. Several ebooks related to the niche that work as excellent lead magnets for marketing material will also be included with the sale and the transfer of the Shopify website. So with all that said, Jacob, what is your background in building and running online businesses? Is this kind of your first one, or is this one of many businesses you've built and ran?
I've actually been in business doing e-commerce for about 5 years overall on Amazon. So this business is built with about 5 years of experience on Amazon. Prior to this business, we were in the wholesale realm, and we really focused on that aspect. Prior to this business is essentially our first in the private label niche.
So this is one of many then. So this isn't your first business or anything like that.
No. Yeah, we had
Awesome.
several prior businesses.
With that said, how did you come up with the idea for this one specifically? Was it more something you were just interested in, or was it like a product competitor gap that you happened to see and research? Is that how you tackled this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we saw a niche in the market. We saw a gap in the market that no one was really filling. And it was actually a product that we were kind of interested in through some personal research as well, and just personal interests.
Cool. So it's kind of matches both. There was a gap in the market, and you were someone interested in it. So that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, for someone who's brand new to Amazon FBA and maybe even online business, they might be looking at this business as kind of their first go at acquiring an online business. Could you just briefly describe in a few sentences how this business is making money?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're primarily monetized through Amazon FBA as well as a few other sites that are, similar in nature to the FBA model. And in those cases, the fulfillment method is self-fulfilled, but there's also the option to the buyer of fulfilling those channels through Amazon's multi-channel fulfillment program. If they wanted a little bit more of a hands-off approach to those channels. But primarily, yeah, we're monetized through FBA.
Cool. And we'll get a little bit more into that Shopify store here in a few questions. But
Yeah, absolutely.
why are you selling the business? Amazon FBA businesses, once they're up and going, outside of the logistics, they tend to be a little bit more hands-off than, say, a SaaS business or something along those lines. So why not keep the business and grow?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. Actually, as we were launching this business and started to scale up throughout last year, 2016, we were approached with an opportunity to lend our expertise in marketing and knowledge to a startup, someone that we're kind of close to in the health and wellness niche, which is actually a passion of mine. And so we started to partner with them around September, October. And through that, we just weren't able to dedicate the time to this FBA business that we're selling that it really deserves. I mean, there's just such a potential for branding, marketing, and someone with the right experience in content marketing and, or even someone who could outsource those things would really be able to take this business to the next level. And, one of my passions is fitness, health and wellness. And so, really the business that I'm working on now is eating up so much time that I really want to focus on that, and not have this kind of hanging over my head, so to speak. And also the influx of capital would be great to kind of, help my new project get some legs, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a capital-intensive game, sourcing product and getting that first shipment in. So I definitely understand that. And it's a good time to sell, too.
Absolutely.
realize that maybe I'm spending too much time on this other project, not really looking at this one anymore, maybe trying to get time to get rid of that one, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, man, absolutely. And just like, after talking to Andrew and the guys at Empire, I see that there really is so much potential in this business for the right owner who, really has the time to dedicate it to taking it to this next level, because I really do believe that it could be a national brand in many ways.
That's great. Especially these other three new SKUs you have. Are they within the same brand as this one? Are they related products or are they kind of their own brand?
Yeah, there's three new SKUs that we did some market research into that could potentially be, in the same brand as the business that we're selling. So, and we could advise the buyer on that process and on what those SKUs would be and everything.
After the sale, you're planning on using the capital to invest into this new business. But when you first began
Yeah.
this business, what was the trajectory like? So you get the product sourced. Did you source it from China? Is it sourced from America? Where's the product coming from?
We do source from China. However, there are some American manufacturers that we could work with the buyer towards pointing them to if they were inclined to want to source stateside.
So you have multiple suppliers that the new buyer can work with?
Well, we actually just work with one supplier, and we have a very, very strong established relationship with our manufacturer. It's pretty cool. He actually sends us gifts and stuff in the mail,
Nice.
which is
Hopefully
pretty
the
cool.
new
Yeah.
buyer will get get some gifts in the mail as well. Does that
Yeah.
are the gifts included?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we could discuss that.
This is part of the negotiation.
Yeah. Right.
So when you first got this business going, did you find that you started making sales right away once it was live on Amazon? Did it take some time?
Yeah, man, we started making sales pretty much, right off the bat. We really, we didn't enter this market just blindly. We really did some research, studied some products that would really, take off from the start. So we started making sales right away, and like I said, we really just scaled up throughout 2016 very nicely. And then, like I said, in the fall time, we kind of just started focusing our energy on this new project, and so just didn't have the time to pour into this that it really deserved.
Yeah, I hear you. So now that you are looking to sell, is there anything you learned in this business in particular, or perhaps over your 5 years of experience that you applied to this business that just worked really well for you? Something you're going to apply in your next business?
Yeah, even through this process, Amazon is such an ever-changing beast. It's how I like to refer to it. I've really learned so much about just, yeah, it really is, So I learned so much about how Amazon works through this time period, studied it very closely. And, our sale of this business would include a lot of hours of phone calls and, coaching for the potential buyer, so they wouldn't be going into this blindly. We would absolutely be able to give them just a wealth of knowledge of, not to hype myself up, but I really am passionate and dedicated to Amazon and e-commerce. So I would really love to work with them in, giving them some experience and knowledge about this niche and, how to position themselves for success.
Yeah, definitely. So if you took everything you did, is there just one thing, like one strategy? Maybe it was utilizing Amazon PPC originally. Would you say like that was like a revolutionary thing for you, or is there anything that kind of stands out as something like, man, I wish I had been doing that sooner?
Yeah, I mean, well, we definitely started PPC from the start, but initially, while we did launch that way, I really learned a ton about kind of content marketing and how people do that, because personally, I always had a much more direct kind of, analytical view, I guess you could say, about e-commerce. And so I learned a lot through this process about content and about how you can really generate a passionate following of people through, Facebook and other methods. And I really think this business ties into that well, because it's really something that people could get passionate about.
So you actually have quite a big Facebook following then as well.
Yeah, we have a Facebook following. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. I know you have a Shopify store as well. When you compare the two, I guess we'll get into that right now. Where are your main sales coming from? Is it from your Amazon FBA listing, or is it more so from your Shopify, or is it equal? How does that look like?
Yeah, sure. So the majority of our sales are Amazon FBA. I'd say probably revenue-wise, we're probably about 80% with FBA. We do have about 20% on some other sales channels, but just out of, respect to the privacy of the listing and the business, I don't want to necessarily state what those exact channels are, but they're very big websites that are, have a large following and are ranked well on Alexa and everything.
Nice, yeah. That's actually a pretty good chunk. A lot of times, Amazon FBA owners, 100%. They might
Sure,
have
yeah.
a Shopify store and that's all set up, but it's just, it's not really doing anything. It's just kind of there for the brand, really, for the most
Yeah,
part.
man. Yeah, so we do have the Shopify store set up, and we are doing some revenue through that. But the thing with Shopify is you really have to drive traffic to there through Facebook. And like I mentioned before, that was kind of one of our reasons for selling the business is that I just wasn't able to dedicate the time to this business that it really deserves. I really see so much potential in it for growth and for engagement with people. So primarily we do sell on some other sales channels as well as Amazon, which is our primary method. Yeah, those channels are great. We have a very established relationship with them, and I think that a prospective buyer would, it would be great because they wouldn't be just limited to Amazon.
Yeah, definitely. Before we keep going forward, is there anything you did with this business that didn't work? Anything that you wish you hadn't done?
I think I wish
The
I
real
hadn't done.
question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a learning lesson. Anytime you launch a business, there's a learning curve. It's trial and error. There's a lot of experimentation that goes on. So there's definitely some things that we could go into with a buyer about that. Maybe related to like PPC a little bit or things of that nature that we could advise on.
Yeah, PPC can definitely be a little bit nerve-wracking for someone who's brand new to it. When it comes to your earnings, you mentioned it's about 80% Amazon FBA, 20% Shopify. But how many SKUs are you selling? And is all your products like I know obviously the products that you're selling on Amazon is sourced by you, but do you have other products as well, like dropship products on your Shopify store or anything like that?
Sure. All of the products that are for sale here are completely owned by us. They're branded by us. They're designed by us and everything from start to finish. Yeah, everything is fulfillable by us. Now we do have some inventory in Amazon that would, potentially when we transfer the account, the buyer would not have to, take on a huge amount of physical inventory, but we do have physical inventory that would be, up for negotiation.
And is that inventory for like on your Shopify store, say someone buys the product, is that just being fulfilled by Amazon as well?
Yeah, so there's definitely that option. Currently, we self-fulfill, and like I said, besides Shopify, there's other sales channels we have. Other websites is what I was trying to get at.
Okay,
And
understandable.
yeah, right. Yeah, so actually, Shopify is for the sake of honesty, Shopify is actually a pretty small portion of our sales. We have other websites that we sell on. So
Cool.
we have established connections with them. We do self-fulfill for those. Yeah, that's correct.
Now, is it pretty stable earnings throughout the year, or is there any kind of seasonality that you see with this product?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a very, very specific benchmark. We have a very, very stable benchmark every month in net revenue and in profit. We do see a big uptrend throughout the summer for a couple of reasons, that we could get into in more details with the buyer. So we did see a big uptick last summer, and if you look at our session views and our page views and even our profit, you'll notice, a huge uptrend in summer. And, that's for a couple specific reasons that we would, for the sake of privacy, we wouldn't want to say too much but on the interview. But yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a huge uptick in the summer months.
Is there any seasonality towards Christmas? Is there any prone for another uptick based off like gift giving, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would really be an area that this product could shine with some, social engagement behind it to really get the word out. But yeah, we had a very strong Christmas and even through into the new year.
Excellent. Now moving more into some FBA specific questions, and I
Sure.
guess Shopify as well a little bit. Are you sourcing this product, or I mean, you mentioned in China, but how are you shipping it? Are you shipping it by boat, shipping it by air? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so We have both options available, and like I mentioned, our supplier is just wonderful. We really love working with them, and even our rep, is just great. So we have both options, and they give us a pretty good rate on air and by sea. So typically we do ship by sea though, as it does save a lot of money.
Yeah, it definitely does. Do you have some kind of methodology in place of when you decide to order more product? Is there like some kind of SOP you guys follow?
We can talk about lead times and everything with the buyer, but yeah, we do have absolutely, like a formula that we use for that.
If you wanted to hypothetically keep this business, keep growing it, what would be the least risky path you'd focus to grow this business?
The least risky path. Well, I mean, that depends, if capital was a issue, or how much capital that a buyer would have to put behind content marketing. But I mean, least risky wise, I'd say that there's just an organic, natural appeal to our products that can really make them stand out and be competitive on a retail level and on a national level. So I'd say the least risky path would be to just focus on, growing and maintaining FBA, and then really branching out into new directions with revenue streams, with going into Facebook, building up a following, going into Instagram, going into, even selling on Walmart and Jet and some of these other sites.
Speaking of expanding into other markets or other channels, rather, have you ever thought about expanding? You're currently just selling the USA market, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
So have you ever thought about expanding into like the Canadian market, UK market, anything like that?
Yeah, so this Amazon account does come with Canada and Mexico FBA functionality. We do have that option on our account, but we actually do have some contacts with Amazon China, which is a brand new market. And it's interesting. It's really not too hard to get set up on Amazon China. And the market there is just, I mean, huge, with billions of people. So
When did that open? That must have been quite.
yeah, it's pretty new, man. It is pretty recent. Yeah, I think it's just within the last couple months, really. So, and competition-wise, pretty much any niche you go into, there's a lot less competition there,
I
just for a
bet.
number of reasons. Yeah, and we also have some contacts at Amazon with the FBA Europe that we can pass on to a potential buyer as well.
Now, if you threw caution to the wind, and let's just say you wanted to grow the profits of this business as quickly as humanly possible, what exactly would you do to go about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I'd spend some time, obviously, on PPC, dialing that in, pumping up some bids where necessary, really growing that. But really, I would say, and I've said this before, but I really want to reiterate the point that this business would be just absolutely amazing to have an organic appeal to it, and a lot of FBA businesses, while they can grow and make some profit in the short term. As someone who's sold on Amazon for a number of years, Amazon, as great as it is, it can be volatile, to say the
Yeah.
least. Listings come and go. Yeah. So, I mean, to the extent that if your product, and this is really goes across any business, your products need to have, appeal, emotional engagement to customers. They really need to connect with them on a deep level if you want to take it to a national level and to a level where you monetize a lot of different revenue streams. So I think that the perfect plan for this business would be to grow through organic traffic, to obtain that following on Facebook, to really engage with people, engage with customers, just engage with people on a really personal level, as far as branding, as far as bringing, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, engaging with them on a personal level.
Now, speaking of risk, what do you think the biggest risk is for a buyer of a business like this that the buyer should be aware of?
Sure. I mean, preferably someone would have at least a beginner level knowledge of Amazon. Risk wise, the monetization is already very stable. We really knew what we were doing and have it set up where it's very steady as far as the monetization. So really, in my opinion, this business is all about growth, potential for growth, as opposed to being, kind of like a volatile investment or a gamble, I should say. It's not a gamble as much as it is, something that should be invested in and grown.
Right. Obviously, there's always the risk that
Sure.
the Amazon FBA account gets banned or something like that for some reason, or
Yeah.
gets shut down briefly for some period. But if the new buyer does focus on the more content marketing approach, that is certainly a way to mitigate that. So I actually
Yeah.
recommend that to Amazon FBA people. I was talking to another person just making money hand over fist, and he said it's hard to get off the Amazon FBA crack, to like go
Yeah.
mitigate that risk by building out a content marketing platform. But definitely, especially if you're looking to move into a big brand, I just think that's a very smart move to help cut that risk down.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't understand what you were getting at first, but yeah, that's true. Amazon, yeah, it can be volatile at times. The good thing is that we have an established connection with some other websites that we sell on, and we do a pretty decent revenue. And now, I mean, of course, Amazon is huge, and the majority.
Hard to beat their traffic.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat Amazon's profit. Yeah, and we've seen that in our other businesses as well. But the nice thing is we have branched out. We have some account reps that we deal with at a couple other companies that we sell on, and we're very happy with those businesses and those revenue streams, and we're thrilled. It's real nice having some. It's just like nice to know that all your eggs aren't in one basket.
Definitely.
That you have some other revenue streams that you can rely on.
Definitely, absolutely. The more you can get rid of critical points of failure, the better, right?
Yes.
So you obviously have a lot of skill and experience in these kind of businesses. What kind of work are you doing right now on, say, a weekly or monthly basis just to maintain this business as is?
Yeah, Greg. Well, it's pretty much on autopilot, as far as the nuts and bolts. With some of these other revenue streams, like I mentioned, right now we self-fulfill, some of those orders just because they aren't, it's not too much on that aspect. We actually have someone that we hire or outsource, I should say, to self-fulfill. So, I mean, aside from that, on the Amazon side of things, everything is just pretty much on autopilot. There's really, maybe an hour a week of just looking at some customer messages, just glancing at PPC to make sure everything is running. Maybe putting a few minutes in the PPC to optimize a couple bids, but really, it's pretty much all on autopilot.
When your customers buy from you mentioned customer messages, are you building an active email list as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the sites that we are monetizing right now with this business, they do allow for remarketing, which is, wonderful from a business owner standpoint. So,
absolutely.
So we do have a list of about, off the top of my head, it's about 500 customers that are on the email list, have opted into marketing, and are, absolutely available for remarketing.
Have you done much remarketing?
Yeah, we've done a little bit. Like I mentioned, though, the past 6 months, we've really been kind of tied up with some of our other business ventures. But, it's ripe for the picking, so to speak. We've got these customers that have opted in, and we have done some remarketing with them, absolutely.
It's mainly there, but not used yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. It's definitely good for a potential buyer who has some retargeting skills, could build some lookalike audiences or something along those lines with like Facebook ads potentially.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say is like your average amount, like when you have to order a new product? Are you ordering a new product on a weekly, monthly basis, or how does that look like?
Yeah, now because of Ocean, it definitely depends on, the time of year. Seasonality is a big factor.
Right,
obviously ordering, if you're trying to get product in for, December, it's going to be a lot. You're going to have to order much further in advance. Right now, we have some inventory. We have a decent amount. So that's something which potentially is a benefit to a buyer, that they wouldn't have to, deal with shipping and, dealing with China and all these different things that can eat up a lot of time. So we do have an active inventory right now that would absolutely be enough to, kind of hold them over for the time being.
So is there any kind of skills or requirements you might suggest for someone to have if they were interested in this business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if someone was looking to buy this business and just have something on autopilot in the background, it absolutely could fulfill that need. If someone was passionate, though, about really, taking a business that already was established, already had, a very, very consistent bottom line net profit, and then taking that to the next level with, like I mentioned, engaging customers, engaging people, really. I'd say that skill-wise, it would be perfect for someone who had some skill in SMM, in social media management, in digital marketing, maybe some graphic design skills, or just really someone who has the skill of, engaging people on Amazon, on Facebook, on Instagram, and just in real life too. I think there's a lot of retail potential to get some of these products in stores, retail stores.
Yeah, definitely a lot of growth opportunities there as far as multi-channel selling. Lead
Yeah.
me to some wrap-up questions here. Would you be willing to sign a non-compete with buyers saying, "Hey, look, I'm, not going to go and build this exact same business after you buy it from me"?
Yeah, absolutely, we would. Like I mentioned before, one of our passions, my passion is fitness, working out. That's one of my passions in life. And it's something that I really place a lot of value in. And like I said, that's the direction that we're really going with this new business that I'm passionate about. And I'm really able to engage with people about our new business. So really, I have no interest in competition or anything like that. So we'd absolutely be open to signing an NDA.
Excellent. And how much support would you be willing to offer that buyer?
Yeah, so really that's up to the buyer, and where they're coming from. If they are on kind of just looking to buy an autopilot business, we'll offer them as much as they need. But at the end of the day, there's not a ton that they will need, to really get up and running, But we'd be willing to offer as much as they need, if they
Within
want.
reason, of course. No
Yeah, within
7-day,
reason, of
10-hour
course. Yeah.
calls.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to fly there, and do a 12-month intensive course or anything. But yeah, within reason, if they want to talk a few hours a week and do some Skype calls, do some video chats, and anything, even for a few months, up to 6 months or more, then that's fine.
Excellent. Obviously, the best case scenario here is for someone comes and buys your business at full list price, best for you, best for Empire Flippers, but we should all be open to a split or an earn out, say like 80% up front and 20% down, maybe with paid out over a certain period of months, or maybe a certain period of training that has to be reached first. Would you at all be open to something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely discuss some options like that. Absolutely. I mean, it definitely would depend on, the offer that was made, though, as we did kind of list it for just a straight up sale. But yeah, we'd be open to offers for that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I
definitely it's
should
a
say,
case by case basis. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, it is. It really is case by case. And just to address your last question a little bit more detailed. So I would love to really offer a lot of my experience with Amazon and with this business specifically to a buyer. So if they did, decide to buy and really did decide that they wanted to do a bunch of calls, then I would love to really help, like, show them the direction of this business. It's not something that we would just sell and like leave them in the wind. Like I really would give a lot of expertise, a lot of my just having it's a business is like a baby. So I've seen it grow over the last couple of years, and really, like, I would love to just show them the direction of how to grow it, how to really take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's definitely a bonus to a buyer, getting your expertise, especially on a business you're so intimate with, as they grow it. So that definitely, for sure, is good stuff. Before I ask you my final question, Jacob, my hot seat question,
Yep.
if you will, just to do a quick summary again. Yeah, don't worry, it won't be too stressful, I promise. A quick summary for everyone out there listening in. This business was built in December 2015, has a monthly revenue of $12,868, with expenses sitting at $6,488 for that total net profit of $6,380. That is over a 12-month average, and included with the sale is the transfer of the FBA account. The inventory will be negotiated during the sale. You'll get 3 new SKUs that will be included with the sales, along with several ebooks that you can use for content marketing that can make excellent lead magnets for building email lists. As well, of course, is the Shopify website and more information about the different multi-channel selling that Jacob is currently doing. So with all that said, my final question for you, Jacob, is what is your best pitch in 30 seconds or less on why someone should purchase this business?
Absolutely. This business is wonderful for someone who's looking to get into the market, not take the risk of launching new products on Amazon, as their launch strategies have changed a lot over the past 12 months. This business is established. It's ready to go. It's already earning a very, very steady monthly profit. However, It's also perfect for a buyer who's really skilled and passionate about content marketing and about building organic followings. And this brand and this business can really be taken to the next level with someone with that passion as well.
Definitely. One thing I like about this business too is from just the autopilot standpoint, but also from someone
Mhm.
looking to potentially get out of their career or something like that. It's definitely making enough money to be kind of a job killer in that sense. So I think that
Yeah,
is,
that's true.
yeah, which I think is awesome. You have a very proven
Right.
business model here, so that's really cool. So for everyone watching this on YouTube, and if you want more information, the link will be below the video that would take you to our marketplace listing. Now, if you're watching this on the listing page and you're wanting more information, you can become a depositor today. All you have to do is click the button, make a deposit, and you'll be given everything you need to review this business. So Jacob, thanks so much for coming on, man. It was an absolute pleasure.
Greg, thank you so much, and I look forward to talking with you more.